struck me as very curious. I suspect that what goes on in every man's head might be very, very different. The actual imagery or semi-imagery which comes. And then when we're talking to each other at these high and complicated levels, and we think we're speaking very well, and we're communicating, but what we're really doing is having some kind of big translation scheme going on for translating what this fellow says into our images, which are very different. I found that out because at the very lowest level, I won't go into the details, but I got interested in, well, I was doing some experiments, and I was trying to figure out something about our time sense. And so what I would do is I would count, trying to count up to a minute. Actually, it took me, say I count to 48, then it would be 1 minute. So I'd calibrate myself, and then I would count a minute and 48, think I was counting seconds, but it's close enough. And then it turns out if you repeat that, you can do very accurately. When you get to 48 or 47 or 49, not far off, you're very close to a minute. And I would try to find out what affected that time sense, and whether I could do anything at the same time as I was counting. And I found that I could do many things. I could, there were some things that not. For example, I had great difficulty. I was in the university. I had to get my laundry ready. And I was putting the socks out. And I had to make a list how many socks. And there was something like 6 or 8 socks, and I couldn't count them. Because the counting machine was being used and I couldn't count them. Until I found out I could put them in a pattern and recognize the number. And so I learned a way after practicing by which I could go down the lines of type in newspapers and see them in groups 3331, that's a group of 10, 3331, without saying the numbers, just seeing the grouping. I could therefore count the lines of type I practiced in the newspaper at the same time I was counting internally with the seconds. And so I would come, I could do this fantastic trick of seconds. 48.
Just breathe it out.
the electric fields and all these things, that the imagery and method by which we're storing it all and the way we think about it could be really, if we attach to each other's heads, entirely different. And in fact, why somebody sometimes has a great deal of difficulty understanding a point which you see as obvious, and vice versa, it may be because it's a little hard to translate what you just said into his particular framework and so on. Now I'm talking like a psychologist, and you know I know nothing.